What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Wealth Not Weight. I am your host, as always, Joseph Coizza, and welcome back to another Financial Friday, which coincidentally falls for 2020 Valentine's Day. It is Valentine's Day, and love is in the air, and I like to keep it that way. I'm a very happy person. I like to see people in love and happy and all together in goodness. So I'm going to go over about how your finances play a big part in your relationship, and why you could be a lot happier if you figure out how to manage your damn money. So let's jump right into it. We're going to talk about what I like to call the 5 F's of relationships. Now, before we get into that, I would like to remind everybody to like, comment, and subscribe. This quite possibly also could be the last time that we are filming in the restaurant as a location. I'll still be filming, I'll still be doing things, releasing content at a usual time. It just now will have a different backdrop instead of the restaurant. As you check out the last video, we'll be saying goodbye to the restaurant. I'll check out my last video for more of that. But now let's get right into it. We're talking about the 5 F's of relationships. Now you may be asking, what are the 5 F's? Well, that's what the whole video is about, so I'm getting into it. You have to learn to have patience. So the 5 F's, the first one is unequivocally, it is family. You have to understand family. That is the most important one. That's why it's at the top. The first F is family. When you're with your partner, you have to have a common understanding and relate to family. Now, using these 5 F's, and then when you have a understanding about your other partner's feelings towards these 5 F's and are on the same page, your relationship will go a lot smoother. Now, what I lack in experience, I make up for in knowledge. So, or many of you would just be like, what does this guy know about relationships? Well, I've seen a lot of people make a lot of mistakes in relationships, and some things I've picked up over time, and this is widely what is renowned as the common things that you need to help fix if you don't want to get divorced, leave a relationship, or just end up single and alone when you don't want to be. So, but the first F is family. It's 100% family. You have to have a common goal. What do your significant other's parents feel? What do your significant other's family feel like towards you? What are their upbringings and feeling towards things? How do you want to progress a family when you get older? If you're married or plan to get married, or even don't plan to get married yet, but is that a possibility? You want to get married and have a family, the other person doesn't? What are you guys' family goals? If you don't agree on family, if the other person's family hates you and they're too involved in your life, or if you don't want to have a family and they do, things are not going to work. It dramatically increases the likelihood that you are going to break up and or get divorced if you do not have a common understanding of family, because that is essentially the most important thing that will be there in your life. And when you do not agree on that with your significant other, there's very few things that can really save that. So you need to have a common goal on family. Second, this is my favorite and kind of the whole point of it, finances. You have to have an understanding about finances. I have it in the book. When you don't have an understanding about finances and the two people work together, when you're married or even in a relationship, it is very difficult to get along. When one person's spending and the other person's saving, you're going to hate each other. When the other person is in charge of their credit cards and the other person is doing nothing, you're going to hate each other. Because when something pops up and you go, I didn't know we had 30 grand worth of credit card debt. Oh, well, yeah, they're the idiot for putting you in credit card debt. You're the idiot for taking your hands off the finances. That's just how it works. I'm sorry. When money is tight, families usually argue. When money's a tough thing to come by, relationships, kind of break up. If one person wants to go out and party all night and spend all their money, and the other person wants to stay home and save their money, chances are that they're differing in a lot of things, and it's very tough for relationships and for marriages too, to just struggle and get through that when you don't agree on finances, and that's why it's the second one. Check out my book and I can talk about it a little bit more, but it's extremely important that you and your significant other agree on finances. Now, while it's also important that if you're dating, you agree on these things to find a potential partner if you wish to get married in the future, this more applies towards things like marriage and fiancés and things that were like a long-term commitment. While as things like relationships and whatnot, you're not necessarily intertwined, but you need to have an understanding and connection to all these things. Because if you're not connected with this person on any of these things when you're in a relationship with them, guess what? When you're married, it's not going to be any different. You're going to have a tough relationship and then you have a tough marriage. But moving right down the line, you have your fundamentals as your third F. The third F is fundamentals. That means your faith, if you're religious, if you're not religious, what was your upbringing, what do you believe in, what are your morals, what ideas do you subscribe to, what is your creed, what is your motto, all that good stuff. What makes you a moral person that you are. Is it that I believe in hard work and effort? Is it that I believe other people should do my job for me? Is it that, cheating is bad and you should be loyal in a relationship? Is it like open relationships? Are you religious? Are you not religious? All that falls into fundamentals, how you grew up, all that, because when you have an understanding and agreement on fundamentals, you have an understanding and agreement of that person's basics. If they grew up religious, and their fundamentals is, you pray and you be a good person and you follow the word of, whatever God they subscribe to, that is probably how they're going to be as a person, and that's how they're going to affect their finances and their family and just their life in general. So when you have an understanding of the person's fundamentals, if their fundamental is, I believe in hard work and education and understanding of communication, and then that means you're going to have a strong basis for hard work, education, and communication. When that's that person's fundamentals, that's their basic core, that's what they're going to be about. And you should find somebody who aligns that with you. If you believe in hard work, find somebody who believes in hard work. If you're religious, try and find somebody who's religious. If you're not religious at all, maybe somebody who's religious might not work. It all depends, This isn't a guarantee that if you don't agree on it, you're going to get, destroyed. But having a strong understanding of the other person's fundamentals has a really good effect on your relationship if you do it. If you don't know the other person's fundamentals and you don't agree with them and they're completely polar opposites and you hate everything about their fundamentals, probably not going to do too well in a relationship. I mean, you could, but it's very unlikely. So the fourth F goes down to feelings. How do you feel about that person feels about you? Now, why is that not higher? Because, love is the basis of a relationship, right? Well, that's true. But if you look at marriages, if you look at other things, people marry for other reasons other than love, unfortunately. But the feeling is, that's the deal breaker. That's the kind of thing it's so important that's why it's fourth. And it may not make sense to you, but here's why it does. Once you go through those other three, you look at the person's family values, you look at the person's finances, you look at the person's fundamentals, and then you get down to your feelings, and if you go, well, this person hates kids, this person likes to spend their money ridiculously, and they hate anybody who does any good in the world, I think my feelings about this person change. When your feelings can drastically differ depending on those first three. If those first three, they're nothing like you and they go against everything you stand for, you're going to be like, maybe I don't feel the way I felt about this person because they're not the person I thought they were. That's why it's a deal breaker, yes, but the reason why it's not first is because you have to go through the rest of those, because all three of those are important. Obviously, if you don't love them, if you don't agree with the person and about where you want to go with life with them, don't be with them. And the same thing with that person with you. If they don't agree, they probably shouldn't be with you. Feelings are important. If you don't love the other person you're with, you shouldn't be with them. But reviewing the first three kind of puts into perspective the whole feeling, because it's easy to get blind and put those blinders on. I love them unconditionally no matter what happens in the world. Well, now if you look at it and you go, oh, wait a minute, this isn't the person I thought it was. Maybe I need to rethink this kind of whole situation I'm in, because they want to go and have, a different kind of relationship that I want and spend their money and do things differently than I want. Or maybe they want to save their money and you're just not that kind of person. Granted, you're not my kind of person either, but I like the people who save the money, but, that's up to you. But you have to have feelings and strong feelings towards the other person, and using those first three will also help put those feelings in perspective. So the final and fifth F is future. Where do you want to go? Where do you see this going? If you want, again, family, and that's why it's after all the other one. If you love this person, you want to get married and have a family and live in a big house somewhere in the country, but the other person wants to live by themselves, never get married, and live in the city. Future's going to be a tough thing to work around, and you're able to change future goals. That's why it's last, and the other ones put things in perspective. But it's important to have a common future. If the other person has no ambition to get a job and wants to sit home and play video games all day, and you want to go out and conquer the world, guess what? Chances are you're not going to be well together, and staying together for a prolonged period of time is going to hurt you, because you don't have the same future goals. Therefore, everything else in your life is going to be different. If you don't want a family, but the other person wants a family and they see that in their future and you don't, chances are your future goals will be different. That's going to be a deal breaker. Same thing with family. If you want your other person's family so intertwined in their life that, they're coming over every day for breakfast, and the other person wants that and wants to live next door to their parents, that's going to affect your future, and that's going to affect how you progress overall and your goals in life and everything, and then you deal with that person. So your future and having a strong understanding, and better yet, an agreement on a future, is going to help you. And that's the 5 F's. That's the final of the 5 F's. I'm going to throw in a little bonus. This isn't an F, but this is something extremely important that I preach to everybody who comes to me with a relationship advice, that they need a relationship advice. Communication. The big C word. Communication. How many times people sit there and talk to me as, I feel this way, here's what I want to do, and I go, great, what did the other person say? Well, I didn't bring it up to him. What do you mean you didn't fucking bring it up to him? Well, I didn't talk to him about it. Well, why not? Oh, I just didn't think to. What's your problem, you fucking idiot? You didn't talk to the other person about it. I'm upset about a situation, but let me not tell my significant other about it and just kind of hope they figure it out. That causes a problem. As you can see, unless you're dating a mind reader, that's going to cause a problem. I came up with this bullshit statistic, and I mean, it could be real. I'm finding it to be real. It was something I said, and then it turned out, I always tell the people as like a little joke, but I'm finding it to be actually kind of true. I didn't think it was true at the time, but 9 out of 10 relationship issues can be solved with communication. If you're not happy with what your partner is doing, talk to them. Talk to them. Find out what you can work out. Find out what you guys could do better. You know, be understanding and have a willingness. That's the important thing, is both willing to change and communicate. Otherwise, if you're just going to say something and then just shut off what the other person's talking, you ain't going fucking anywhere. You're just talking to a brick wall at that point. It's not worth it. God's honest truth. It's not worth it. But if you have a willingness to communicate and you go, I don't like what you're doing, and they go, well, I'm doing this because of this, and you both go, okay, now we have to change this so we could come together better as a relationship, that's how things get done. It's communication. It's like you're making a deal. I want to get this for $500. Well, I want this for $400. And guess what? You got to find something in the middle. That's where a relationship is. Only it's happiness and joy and love instead of buying something for money. You're exchanging happiness, joy, and love and living together. That's what a relationship is. You need to communicate. If you're upset with something, talk to the other person about it. You know, if the other person's getting angry and belligerent and you feel you can't talk to them, guess what? Maybe they're not the person for you. Okay, if you can't be honest and open with them, if you're having trouble, you know, say sexually, or you're having trouble, you know, romantically, talk to the other person about it. The amount of times I've heard people be like, yeah, I'm having an issue with them, but guess what? I haven't talked to them about it. I just kind of sit there and suffer in silence. How the fuck are they supposed to know there's an issue if you don't bring it up to them? Again, they're not mind readers. Talk to people. And when you talk to people, you have a willingness to communicate, and you use the 5 F's. You talk about the 5 F's. You get an understanding of the person's, you know, family, finances, fundamentals, feelings, and future. When you have an understanding, you communicate all that. You communicate the issues and the good times and the bad, and you communicate all that, you're going to have a strong, good relationship. As long as the other person is also responsive and does the same thing, you guys can get along great. If you look at it from that, it's easy to get all emotional, upset, and really have a hard time in relationships. But the fact of the matter is, you need to remember these things. These are the fundamentals that when I'm upset, I need to calm down, cool off for a second, and go, okay, well, what's the issue? Am I not talking and communicating to the person? Let me talk and communicate. Is it a problem with one of our 5 F's? Let me talk to them and find out their understanding about it and explain to them my understanding so we get it better. All those 5 F's get progressed through communication. And that's how it works. And that's how you have a happy relationship from a kind of logistical standpoint. Let me know what you think. If you guys like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and have an absolutely wonderful Valentine's Day. And again, not to dampen the mood, but make sure you guys say goodbye to the restaurant. I might do something on the channel about it, but this will probably be the last time you guys are seeing it. So I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for the restaurant for allowing me to do this and really bringing this wonderful opportunity to the viewers. So thank you so much for all that. All right, so I'll see you guys next time.